Hello, everybody. I'm here to kind of tell you kind of a funny, weird story and some things that I've thought about it kind of afterwards. So it's a story really about pushing boundaries and pushing your limits in a way, but not kind of in the way that you would think it. So as many of you know, before I came to Sloan, I was in consulting, and part of my firm had an emerging markets consulting branch. So I studied abroad in Africa and was just really dying to go back. So for about 2 years, I pushed really hard to get on a project there. You know, networked, did proposals, all that other fun stuff that nobody likes doing. And so I finally got staffed on a project in Swaziland, which, if you don't know, it's in between South Africa and Mozambique. Very small country, about 1 million people or so. So I was super excited. I get there, and I had a friend of a friend who was there, and so I'm like, great, I have friends. This is awesome. I was going to be there for 3 months or so. And she calls me up my first weekend, and she goes, you know, a bunch of us expats, we're all going hiking tomorrow. You should come. And there's two things you should really know about me. One, I have very bad FOMO, or fear of missing out. Like, it's probably shouldn't say this, but it's very easy to convince me to do social things. The second thing is I really hate physical activity. I just don't. I don't like sweating. I don't like hiking. Like, I take the elevator. I don't like it. So, as you can see, like, these two things are like very much at odds with each other. And I was like, no, this is my first weekend. I don't want to say no, and then she doesn't think I'm friendly, and then I have no friends, and like, you know, one of those things. So I'm like, fine, I'll go hiking. So I bring my coworker Drew, who's also there, and we go to this national park in Swaziland to go hiking for the day with about, I don't know, 10, 15 other expats. And I warn her, I'm like, Christina, I'm really out of shape. Like, I'm telling you, is this a difficult hike? Like, I will not be able to do this. She goes, no, it's totally fine. We're just gonna hike there, hike back. A couple people are staying overnight, but like, we'll be fine. We're just gonna go in and out the same day. I'm like, sounds great. So we show up at the national park, and if any of you have the chance to go to Swaziland, you should. It is by far one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. Big rolling green hills, gorgeous. And this national park was no exception. It was really beautiful. So we get there, we hike down. It's 2.5, 3 hours. I'm not happy about it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm making friends. This is downhill. I'm not going to think about the uphill climb. Like, we'll be fine. We get there, go swimming in like some little pools. It's beautiful. I'm making friends. My FOMO was fine. I'm great. And so eventually, Kristen's like, okay, like now it's time to hike back out. And it was Christina, the friend of a friend, Drew, my coworker, and this other girl, Laura, also an American, and we're all going to hike out. So. But right before we're leaving, I see Christina getting like verbal directions from this Swazi friend of ours who was there as to how to get out of this park. And just so you know, there are no trail signs, and there's no cell phone reception because we are too far in the park. But I'm like, no problem. Christina knows what she's doing, so we start hiking out of it, and then eventually, you know, we're literally like fording rivers and stuff, and we go to a fork in the road that was not described in said verbal directions. So we're like literally like going like this, and we decide to go left. We're just like, whatever, we gotta go somewhere, we go left. So we go left, and then we hike about a half hour down and reach a dead end. And we're like, well, this was the wrong direction. But it was around that time, all of a sudden, Laura goes, did you hear that? And I was like, what? She goes, I think I heard a baboon. And I was like, okay, whatever. She goes, like, be careful. I'm like, why? It's a monkey. Like, why would I be worried about baboon? And she was like, no, like they're very dangerous. Like, they actually attack humans. All these things I'm learning out, like, as we're in this place. She's like, yeah, they usually travel in groups of like, 50 to 150. Like, their teeth are bigger than lions. And I'm like, anyway, so she's like, I don't know, just like, pick up a stick or something. So we pick up a stick, and then turn around and walk back. So right now we'd already kind of lost an hour. Keep walking, and what we were told to look for to turn to go back up was a path that looks like a path but isn't really a path. And so we see what we think it is and we go, because what else are we going to do? And so like I said, it took about like 2.5 hours to walk back, and I think by then it had gone like 4.5 hours, and we had no clue where we were. Still we're at a cell phone reception, and even worse than that, it's starting to get very dark. So we're like, crap. So we keep walking, we're in the forest on top of a mountain, and eventually it just gets too dark to walk anymore. And we were getting very scared because, I mean, it's a mountain, right? So like, if you step off the path, you're falling down. And with no cell phone reception, we're like, this is just not a good idea. So we decided to stay put overnight in the Swazi forest. And we had, I think, like maybe 1 liter bottle of water and like 2 granola bars between the 4 of us. And because we had been wading in rivers, we were cold and wet, and it started to rain a little bit. So we're all laying on the ground spooning. So I was like spooning my married male coworker I met like a week earlier, which was fun. And eventually, all of a sudden, somewhere we just like hear a lot of like rustling and like hear baboon sounds, and we're like, shit. So then, you know, we have our sticks, and then we pick up rocks because that's going to help as well. And so all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kristen has all this baboon knowledge about like how to ward off baboons. And she's just like, I read somewhere that they'll attack if they think there's only women. So like all 3 of us just like turn and look at Drew. The one dude who's like maybe slightly taller than I am, like not a very manly guy. So they're like, we're like, Drew, you have to start shouting. Shout so the baboons don't come. So like, Drew just starts shouting and like telling us all about his life. But like shouting for him so the baboons don't attack. So this goes on for a while. Eventually we also think it'll be a good idea to start like taking pictures, thinking like the flash would like scare them off. So like to this day, I think Kristen has like some 200 odd pictures of like the bush that was in front of us. And yeah, eventually we think we're fine. We're like, okay, you know, whatever, funny story, haha, like it's fine. But then all of a sudden, out of the middle of nowhere, we hear like something go. It was definitely like some animal getting killed. So that's when we just like leap up and we're like, holy shit. So picture this, right? We got rock, we got stick, Drew shouting, Kristen's taking pictures, whatever. And then all of a sudden Kristen goes, oh, I have pepper spray, right? And so she whips out the pepper spray, and I guess all of a sudden she got spooked and by accidentally pressed the pepper spray button and pepper sprayed all of us. So that added to the mix. So this is around 2:30 in the morning. So luckily at around 5 or so, the sun comes up and enough that we think we can start moving. But you know, somewhere in the middle of the night, in between like the pepper spray, being cold, everything, I thought, son of a bitch, why'd I go hiking? I hate hiking. Like, this is why I don't go hiking. And look what happened. So we started hiking in the morning, and actually across the river, we actually did see like the whole troop of baboons. And these, like, if you've been in Africa before and you've been to like Victoria Falls and stuff, like they're a little mean, but like you've seen the baboons running. No, these are the very wild ones. They are not nice. Like they don't see a lot of humans, and like you are in their territory. And they were huge. So I think that's when it finally dawned on me. I was like, this is not good. So we keep walking for another 2-3 hours, something like that. But luckily we finally got in cell phone reception. I think by now we had hiked like, I don't know, 7-8 hours the day before, and we were in like hour 3 the next day. And keep in mind, like I get winded going up the stairs at E51, okay, so I'm like not in a good mood. But nobody cried, I will say, nobody cried the entire time. So we finally got in cell phone reception. We're able to call a friend. So Swaziland is very small, and so basically everybody Kristen knew was either camping down there or happened to be in Maputo, Mozambique. So literally her one friend, thank God, who was in Swaziland and not down there, picked up the phone. And he called like the park rangers and was like, there's 4 idiot tourists lost in the national park, you should probably go find them. So we wander around another hour and a half, finally get picked up. And I don't think I knew how bad it was till I saw the rangers' like face, and they were just horrified that a lot of bad things could have happened. So we go back to the hotel. We're all like limping by now. I'm like covered in dirt. We get some very funny looks walking in, and I order 2 plates of spaghetti. I eat both of them. I take a shower, and I was like, you know what, ordeal's done. And actually, funny story. About 2 years after this happened, I happened to run into a guy who had been in Swaziland like a year after me. And all of a sudden he looks at me and he goes, "Were you one of the people who was lost in the forest?" Like, this story had like gone all over Swaziland. It was awesome. But I'm telling you this story because I introduced it as a story about pushing boundaries and pushing yourself to do things that you normally wouldn't really think that you would like to do. And I think we'd like to tell stories that I pushed my boundary and it was great and it was wonderful and I got so much out of it. But no, I pushed my boundary. It was awful. But but now, when I think about, going forward and reflecting on times, when I've had to push myself to do things, either, get over insecurities or, go for the job that, maybe nobody thought I should have, or like push for my opinion or push for things. Push myself. I really started thinking, is there a possibility of a wind attack? And if there isn't, I'll be fine, And, even if there is a possibility of an attack, then you'll just have a really good story and, it'll be okay. So I think just going forward, just putting things in perspective, and I think, a lot of the stories that you've heard from tonight are very similar, of just, really pushing yourself means, and, when we all just need to maybe relax and it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.